I know you are a popular Hollywood actor whose paternal ancestral roots was traced to Sierra Leone. And he's here with us. Good morning and welcome to the show, Idris.
Good morning, Sammy. How are you?
I'm okay. Lord break nice. Lord starts na Creole.
Okay.
I know. You don't use Hollywood studio.
Yes.
This might not be up to it, but we're trying to keep up. And you're a very busy person, but bear with us. I hope so we try the studio.
No, you do very, very well. I'm very impressed. It's like the first time AYV Studios. Fantastic facility.
All right. Now, let us understand the thoughts behind you coming to Sierra Leone after you realized that you have these ancestral roots to Sierra Leone.
Well, you know, if I'm talking about Creole,
go ahead. I
don't realize I've been born at Salone, Sierra Leone. And my papa from Poobu, and my mom from Waterloo. So even though I was born in London, my heritage was always a Sierra Leonean house.
Right.
You know, my mom, in fact, is from Ghana, but she moved to Sierra Leone when she was 12. So myself, not, you know, my culture is Sierra Leonean. Me Creole, it was all small, but you know. So my point is, it's not a realization of my ancestral roots. I've always seen myself as number one, a Sierra Leonean, number two, African. You know. Right. I think, you know, coming home is a rite of passage. You know, it's something that anybody that has African roots or any other roots, to go back to where your parents are from is an important step in your own materialization, you know? Right. So now I make it come back more and more. The first time I came was 2019, and it was a welcome, a homecoming. You know, people then dip on the street, they hail me, give me a lot of love, you know. Right. And I've been to many African countries. This was the biggest welcoming I've ever had, you know.
So let's get to talk about that. 2019, when you first came to Sierra Leone, that honor, that sense of belonging, that this is where I come from.
Yes.
It was huge to a point you were honored with the citizenship status.
Yes.
And there was this investment opportunity you also presented in Banff.
Yes.
First off, what are the thoughts around that?
Yes. So, you know, when I came back to Sierra Leone, it was important for me to recognize and amplify the opportunities in Sierra Leone. You know, not just for Sierra Leoneans or just for Africans, but internationally. People need to see how beautiful this country is, how resourceful the people are, and what the culture has to offer. The history in Sierra Leone is so rich that the only narrative is about either civil war or Ebola, or all the negative things there. So for me, one of the things that I thought I can do as a proud Sierra Leonean living on the international stage is try and shift the narrative. So the Banff Island project is, you know, look, it's one of the biggest dreams of my life. You know, I've done many things, but to try and see Sherbro Island into the dream me and my partner has is beyond my actual capabilities.
Right.
But I'm thankful that, you know, the Sierra government, Madabio, has been a very sort of faithful partner in trying to construct how we do that, not just for Sierra Leone's, but also for the rest of Africa. So I think 3 years ago, we signed an MOU, which allowed us to discuss how we can utilize, strategize the sort of construct of making Sherbro Island a fantastic tourist destination. And in that last 3 years, it's been a very complex negotiation of how to do it and do it correctly. Okay, some of the difficulties are, first of all, Sierra Leone has a history that does not favor investment to come here. You understand?
Right.
And it was trying to find a construct, an instrument, a framework that allows that history not to tamper with investment. And that's a very complex negotiation. The players are obviously myself from the private sector, the government of Sierra Leone from the, you know, the governance sector, and the people of Sherbro themselves, the chiefs, the community leaders, their voice. So this 3 years has been a combination of negotiation, understanding, dreaming. And I know, because a lot of people have been wondering, well, You don't can't take passport. Let me not see you again. You know,
Right.
and for me, I understand that because things take time, but it has been an incredible journey, and I'm pleased to say, you know, we finally got to a place where the agreement that we have has been signed, and it's ready for us to start taking into a sort of the next phase.
Just out of curiosity, looking at the brand, have you been able to deconstruct the complexities around getting investors, getting people to trust that Sierra Leone is actually a reliable destination for investment?
I mean, look, it's an ongoing challenge. It's an ongoing challenge. But the only brand I can amplify in Amiun.
Yes.
You know, I'm a Sierra Leonean, I'm proud, and I hold myself, even if I'm doing a film in Hollywood, I still hold my heritage up and proud, very much so. So if they like me, they go for like Salone.
Right.
That's my point, you know. I don't think I alone can shift the narrative. It is a collective, you know. Even sitting here in AYV, you now become...
You could go to Grainger.com to find...
It is a collective, you know. Even sitting here in AYV, you now become an instrument of that change. Because this interview will be dissected, and people will say, wow, he's talking about a country that has essentially had a negative history. So for me, that shift of narrative, that brand building is a collective thing. We're all Salone, all people from Sierra Leone, whether you're in America or you're in the UK or you're in Russia, Seth, you are a representative of the country and you are therefore a part of that brand reconstruction, you know?
Looking at, we read in the news that, Idris Elba is building a studio in Tanzania and all of that. I'm sure you're not oblivious, you've seen
Yes.
those things. And for a country you're so proud of, for a country you speak highly about, Sierra Leone.
Yes.
Besides the Shabro project,
Yes.
have you been able to clearly identify other potential areas that might help to build the economy of the state?
Yes. Look, you know, first of all, it's important to understand when you see an announcement in the news, not to say it's done. You know, sometimes news agencies, press, PR, they're very quick to sort of announce before the actual thing is done. But that's okay, because in Africa, it's important to have what I call propaganda. Propaganda. That is optimistic propaganda. Usually, when they make an announcement, it's about conflict. So to hear that an African is making film studios in Africa, that's propaganda for me, okay? But the second thing is to understand that for Sierra Leone, you know, it's a process. This country has so much to offer, not to mention the people, but the talent, the resources, the geographical nature of the place. There is so much to offer, okay? For me, I'm an actor. I'm not a politician, I'm not a leader. My instrument is media. And so my focus is to find a way to amplify the media. The media is going to be the instrument to change the narrative, yeah? If I can, what I would like to do, not a studio at a Cambodia, I want to build a workforce. I want to build a workforce via education. How do I teach? How do I instruct? How can I be an instrument of teaching a workforce of young people to look at their content, to make music, to make films, to write books, to start their startup businesses? These are all things that countries like Ghana, Tanzania, South Africa, they're very focused on their youth. You know, so for me, I guess my opportunity as a media exec is to try and amplify that. You know, try and give instruments so the youth then can go, okay, I can see my own potential. I think education is a big part of that.
So in your quest to amplify the opportunities here through the media, we've seen you've done movies in other countries, and many people will be looking forward to, is Idris Elba going to do one in Sierra Leone?
Yes.
Are there thoughts? Are there
Yeah, of
plans?
course, there's thoughts. You know, I want to find the right story and the right package to bring to Sierra Leone. You know, when you make a movie in any country, when I made my first movie in Ghana, we brought the whole crew. It was the first major film in Sierra Leone. In Ghana, that movie was Beast of No Nation. And we brought everybody in, and from that movie, it became an explosion of other movies coming to Ghana. So for me, it's about getting the right story and the right infrastructure for them. You understand it?
Right.
I want to bring a story that makes Sierra Leone. The Beast of No Nation movie that I did in Ghana was not about Ghana. I want to find in that story, it's about finding the sort of infrastructure to help me do it. And it's a time thing, you know. I know people are wondering, well, you know, they can't bring here, but, you know, it's a timing thing.
So as we wrap up this conversation, Idris, what level of assurance would you love to give to Sierra Leoneans that, hey, I'm one of yours, and no matter what, I'm going to be here and I'm going to do what is needed?
Of course, you know, I want my people to be insured, but I want you to understand also, you know, what you might read, what you might see on Twitter or WhatsApp, don't believe everything you read. Yeah? Just go by my actions. Just go by what you see me doing. All right? In my opinion, when I'm coming to Sierra Leone, I'm always coming to raise the profile. It's not that I bring in big business. It's not that I brought lots of films, but I am bringing profile. And that's an increment, you know, that's something that I'm taking my time to do. But rest assured, I'm a Sierra Leonean, you know. I love my country, I love my people, and I have a lot of ambition for us, you know. I have a lot of ambition for African young voices, for real. And I want to see, I'm not worried about the negativity, because people are going to say what they want to say, but just watch my actions, you know what I mean? See, when I'm talking about Sierra Leone, what am I saying about Sierra Leone? And then eventually, you know, I'm going to bring what I can here.
How close is Sierra Leone to your heart?
It is my heart, you know. I'm a born Sierra Leone. I'm very proud. My family's still here. My dad, you know, my late dad is still, you know, is very close to me. And because Sierra Leone has seen such negativity in the past, you know, as someone that can help shift that narrative, it's very close to my heart. It's very close. I'm half Ghanaian, so I love Ghana, but I love Tanzania. I love Africa as a continent, you know. I think Africa is definitely being recognized as the biggest potential market in the entire world. And I want to be a part of that. So as much as I love Sierra Leone, it's my heart, I'm an African as well.
It is. Let me ask you this question out of curiosity. Looking at the brand, the Idris Elba brand, and
is there such a thing?
Yes, there is.
Really?
And look, and take a look at Sierra Leone, the image that many people know Sierra Leone for. You know, you go now, you ask about Sierra Leone, people know Sierra Leone for Blood Diamond, Ebola, war, and all of that. How would you use what you have to ensure that that brand, that image-making opportunities present themselves, so at the end of the day, when people want to talk about Sierra Leone, they first have to look at what Idris Elba has done and how iconic is Idris Elba?
Look, you know, it's not just me, but you know, I was speaking to the president of AYV. We talked about what is the magnetism we can bring. You know, Rudiger, fantastic footballer, playing for Chelsea.
Right.
He's coming, he's doing work. His narrative, my narrative, the narrative of other Sierra Leoneans who are waiting to come back is the instrument. That's what we need to do, you know? I'm never worried that, well, I am worried actually. When people Google Sierra Leone, the first thing that comes up is something negative, probably.
Right.
As you said, blood diamonds or conflict or whatnot. We can, with technology, with storytelling, with content providing, change that Google search. We can do it, you know, but it is about a process. It's a collective process. You know, when we know that during times of, in any African state, Nigeria is going through it now, in times of elections or whatnot, there is this rise of tension. People are very passionate about who should be their leader, okay? But that passion should not equate to violence, because the violence takes us backwards. It's the first thing that pops up on the Google News. It's okay to be passionate. It's okay to be sort of vehement about your opinion, but the violence makes the whole, not just West Africa, not just Sierra Leone, makes the whole of Africa look like we're not ready. You understand it?
Right.
And it's these things that, for me, as an instrument, as a voice, when I talk to young people there, I say, listen, you don't have to, you actually are the ones that can shift the narrative because you're young. You have a lifetime ahead of you. So if you change the narrative today, that's going to change the narrative for the country.
Let's go to Banff Island where you were yesterday.
Yes.
And I'm told you were coronated, you were, crowned Paramount Chief.
Chief Kongbaki, the first.
Right. What was the feeling like?
Man, it was humbling, you know. The community of Banff, and so take me like brother, you know. I think the population is just under 30,000 people. They all come greet me at the ferry. And I've been going to Banff, the first time was 2019, but for the last 3 years, I always send, I know they call it charity, but not care package. Until they make me chief, every holiday, I send them something for the whole island. For the picking them, food stuff, school supplies, then in there. And they so appreciate down there that when I came, it was just like a welcoming. But also my responsibility to go back and explain to them who I don't be in the last 3 years was very important. The people wanted to understand what has the negotiation been about. So the Banff trip yesterday was, the Banff trip last week was fantastic. It was moving, very emotional, in fact.
Let's talk about the food.
The food.
The food in Banff.
Careful, because I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I'm hungry.
Okay.
And they call them wake up Salone, but I they wait for me food.
The good thing you're up. so let's get to talk about. What have you tried? What's your favorite with Salone food?
It's better you ask me which
with
I
Salone
can
food.
cook.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, man. My signature dish. Nami granite soup. You see?
With plenty pepper.
I didn't calibrate the pepper. I didn't calibrate it, but no. My mom always taught me to cook. Granite soup was the one. When it comes to the the cassava leaf, I did wait first. But my favorite is potato leaves with fish.
Right. Let's talk about your relationship with popular rapper Idris Elba, because Idris Elba is synonymous to entertainment, not just the movie industry.
Yes.
So let's talk about your relationship with Idris Elba. You appear to be in bed with him. Singing and rapping and all of that.
I'm a guy, you know. Idris Elba represents, I guess, one of the pinnacle artists in Sierra Leone. Is the biggest artist, in my opinion, in Sierra Leone, but alongside other good rapper there, you know. And, you know, the first song I made in Sierra Leone was with Shadow Boxer, me and Shadow and the band. That song called Confidential. And at the first 10, you know, people didn't see me. A, I did rap. B, I did rap and not Creole. And people were like, what's in this? But for me, it was such a, because when I came to Sierra Leone, they play that song, bang, bang, all the time. Yeah? But Drizzy, as big as he is in Sierra Leone, he said, listen, I want to make a song with you, you know? And that wasn't about, you know, him using me to elevate his platform. He just recognized that he likes my music, he likes my style, so we made a song. And we made a few songs. But the Ashobi song was definitely a song that, you know, Ashobi is a tradition. It's a West African tradition, but Salone is very big, yeah? And we wanted to do something that people could, you know, play year in, year out. Something really, so when I was in Lumley Beach, Drizzy performed it. I surprised him on stage while he was doing Ashobi. And when I was on stage, the people there, where did they sing the lyrics there? You know, it just made me feel proud, you know. The last line of that song is, you for be proud for come on Salone, and everybody was screaming it. So for me, job done. So I shout out to Drizzy for that.
As you talk about rap, I for just don't ask you right now for do some freestyles, but I will save that for the last.
Definitely not. Unless you go out with me, definitely not. Don't put me on the spot like that. Come on. All
right, but I ask you, what's your favorite? What football team do you support?
Arsenal.
Do you play football?
Yeah, I used to play football a lot, but not at professional level. My uncle used to play for the country, for Sierra Leone back in the 70s or 80s. So yeah, football is in my family. I'm an Arsenal supporter. What about you?
I'm a Chelsea fan.
Chelsea fan?
Yes.
All right.
So, No, just okay. We're still Londoners.
Okay.
But you know, you earlier on mentioned Rudiger. Rudiger was here. I had him, and I asked him a question around his interest, what inspired him. So I'm just going to ask that question: what really got you into acting? What pushed you into it?
I think it's my imagination. You know, when I was 14 years old, I had a big imagination. I mean, an only child, yeah. So when you're an only Pekin, you know, your imagination is your best friend. And when I was in school, my drama teacher said, "Wow, you know that imagination that you have, you should put that into your acting." I didn't even know acting was a job, you know. But I found out I was good at it, and I guess it inspired me to be able to use my imagination in ways I couldn't. I think that's why I became an actor.
The good thing, we don't inform you earlier for the freestyle, so it's not literally putting you on the spot. I think I give some.
I'm not a good freestyle guy.
But what's your...
You can't embarrass me on Wake Up Salone, please.
With all the songs you recorded, what's your favorite, Idris?
My favorite record of myself?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so there's two. I've been doing one album that not many people know. It's called Me Mandela. When I played Nelson Mandela, after I finished the movie, my dad, my late dad, that was the last movie he saw. All right, and he was crying when he was watching it. When he died, I went to South Africa for 3 months and I made an album. It's called Me Mandela. It's got maybe 12 songs in it.
Right.
For me, that's my most incredible musical expression. I love that album because it's a love letter to my dad, it's a love letter to Mandela, it's a love letter to Africa and South Africa. So if you get a chance, listen to that album. It's a fantastic album. But the second best song, I think, Nabosti, you know, because that song was one of the biggest songs of, I don't know, the last 3 years, and, you know, I'm very proud of it.
I see. And with all the funky and crazy part of it, it was dope. So let's allow you now. Idris, let's... Idris should do Idris.
No, man.
Let's get to know what Idris is.
It's not that. Wow, it's not that I can't freestyle, my guy. It's just, this is a, you know, talk show. We come to talk, not to rap.
And show what you've got.
Sammy, you rap?
Yeah, I rap. Yes, I rap.
Okay, if you rap for me, I rap too.
But the good thing is, now me they ask a question. So I ask Idris for rap for me.
No, man, I the shame, boo. I the shame, please.
I'm trying to actually make a very good song. I the shame. I know so you can put lyrics to them.
Yes, me and Drizzly could go make that one day.
Idris, what's your impression about, I mean, what you've seen? Looking, I mean, this is perhaps from a biased standpoint. I work with AYV and I see the strides AYV is making, not just in Sierra Leone, the continent and the rest of the globe. What's your impression of AYV telling Sierra Leonean stories to the globe?
I mean, look, you know, AYV is a success story on its own. When you think about DSTV, Nigeria and Ghana have been the two main players, but Sierra Leone is the third country to be put on DSTV, and that's a massive achievement. That is a phenomenal achievement. But secondly, when you remember the beginnings of AYV as a voice for youth, coming from a very difficult time in Sierra Leone's history, AYV was born and gave power to the youth's voice. And it's still doing that. That's a success story. You know, for me, I'm very proud of it. I've got family members that work with AYV, and you know, so even with our family, we're very proud of it. But I also feel like, you know, the potential is massive. It's in our African young voices, so it's outside just Salone. It has the potential to lift up voices of Africans across the continent. And again, like I said to you, Africa is the potential of the world. People know it. You see and come, people are looking at Africa now because their own resources in their own developed countries are drying up. They look for Africa. And it doesn't matter about the minerals, it's the people that are the most valuable thing. And those people are young.